Hey, how's it going everybody? It's Tanner here, and welcome back to a new Ninjago video here on the channel. In today's video, we're going to be running through a brief history of the ninja's elemental powers. Now, obviously, since Ninjago has been running for almost 10 years at this point, our favorite ninja have been through a lot of various missions and battles, a lot of which are affecting their elemental abilities. So we're going to go ahead here and just go through each season and basically give a little bit of a rundown as to what the ninja's powers were like in each season and where they are currently. Because, again, the series is very, very inconsistent with the power levels that the ninja possess, so we're just going to go ahead and give a brief rundown of what their powers were in each season, starting with the pilot episodes. Now, in the pilot episodes, the ninja barely had any elemental powers at all. They were, of course, elemental, users, of course, according to the lore, but they had not yet unlocked their elemental powers yet. They could still do spin jutsu and all that kind of stuff, but they did not have elemental abilities. During season 1, we actually got a little bit of a closer look as to what the ninja's powers could specifically do. They did have some type of elemental capabilities with the golden weapons, but when the ninja truly unlocked their actual true potential, that's when they started to gain a little bit more individuality when it came to their elemental powers, meaning that they could control them without the need for the golden weapons. Of course, going into season 2, the ninja were kind of having issues with their elemental powers. They weren't really all the way there at the beginning of season 2, and especially at the end of season 2 after the final battle actually commenced, the ninja didn't really have any elemental abilities for whatever reason, even though a lot of the stuff in season 2 heavily suggested that they were still powered up, but they still needed, some help with the elemental blades and stuff like that. So they still really didn't have full control over their elemental powers. In season 3, the ninja did not have any powers at all until halfway through the season when Lloyd gave up the remaining percentage of his golden power to restore the elemental powers of each individual ninja. Of course, he granted powers to each of them, and they had them all the way up until the finale of season 3. In season 4, the whole thing was about the ninja, using their powers for the Tournament of Elements, and they all did until they were taken away one by one by Master Chen. Of course, they were soon restored later on, and the ninja were all powered up all throughout the ending of the 4th season. Starting up in season 5, the ninja still had their powers until Lloyd was possessed by Morrow, and again, since season 3, Lloyd was kind of, the dependent for the elemental powers for the ninja, aside from Nia, of course, because, of course, Lloyd gave up his own power to give the ninja's powers, meaning that if Lloyd ever went out or was out of commission, the ninja would lose their powers, and that's pretty much what happened in season 5, all the way up until Lloyd was free from Morrow's possession, and then the ninja received their powers back once again. In season 6, the ninja were actually pretty consistent with their powers. They had them all the way from the beginning of the season to the end, so not really any complaints there, and it was actually one of the first times that we actually saw the ninja, retain their powers throughout an entire season. It was actually rather nice. Day of the Departed, same thing, the ninja still had all of their powers, not really going to loom, too heavily on that, because, again, it's just, it's like they still have their powers, so it's fine. Season 7, the ninja also still had their powers. Their elemental abilities were tested by the hands of time, but it really wasn't, taken away from them necessarily. They were just challenged in a way that they hadn't been before. In Sons of Garmadon, the ninja still had their elemental powers, and of course they retained them all the way from start to finish. In season 9, the ninja still had their powers, with the exception of Lloyd, of course, up until the very end of the season, who was still going through a brief transitional period where he just simply did not have his elemental powers. In season 10, the ninjas still had their powers for the March of the Oni Small season, and of course in season 11 is when things get a little weird, because Kai ended up losing his elemental powers, but the ninjas still had theirs, and of course that remained true for the second half of season 11 as well, until Kai received his power back at the end of that season. In Prime Empire, the ninjas still had their powers, but they could not use them in the actual Prime Empire video game, but towards the end of the season, when the ninja got out of the game, they could still use their elemental powers, and in season 13, the ninja were kind of weird with their powers. Of course, they still had them, but they were kind of concealed by Vengestone in a way that they really hadn't been before, just because the environment that they're in had a lot of Vengestone in it, and just in general, they weren't really, too active with their powers, but they still had them. And that's basically just a brief history of the ninja's elemental powers, going through each season one by one and sort of just explaining what their power sets were. And again, there is a lot of gaining power, losing power, gaining power, losing power. So again, it's just kind of that way in Ninjago, and it's kind of inconsistent, but I suppose that's how you make an interesting story with characters that are supposedly, overpowered elemental masters. So thank you so much for watching this video. Let me know down below in the comments what you thought of the video, and let me know if you you are sick and tired of the ninja constantly losing and regaining their powers. With all that being said, be sure to like, comment, subscribe, do all that fun stuff, and check out the links down below in the description for my other forms of social media. As always, big shout out goes out to my Patreon supporters, including once again the marvelous Jan. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. Once again, my name is TannerFishies, and with that I bid you farewell.